those of you who don't know me and didn't hear that just now, my name is Pete, and I have a drug problem. Is this the right meeting? The problem is, I've never done drugs. At all. Ever. Although that may change after tonight. We have it. And the thing is, when you grow up like I did, never trying drugs or anything, you can be an outcast sometimes. Like in high school and college, and my church choir. Although that was really because I was Jewish. So I always be relevant. So I don't have to blame on the drugs. But most of all, you feel out of place not doing drugs when you're a comedian. Richard Pryor will be turning over his grave right now if he heard about this. The rest of the comics are back there going, I knew there was something wrong with that guy. He is never going to make it in this business unless maybe he's an alcoholic. I'm not, and I had a happy childhood, so I'm completely screwed. So I never thought, believe it or not, that not doing drugs was a bad thing. Until the other morning, I started giving my kids a Say No to Drugs lecture. They got me up early. I figured I might as well do something useful, not just kick them in the ass. And I start going about a half a second in. They say, Dad, did you ever do drugs? So I had to lie. Because, first of all, I have very little street cred with them because they saw me downloading a Kenny Rogers song on iTunes. You're all laughing. But in your head, I know what you know. You got to, yeah. You got to. And hold on. Anyway. So the other thing is, I thought, wouldn't it be much better if I said, yes, I did drugs, and this terrible thing happened, and here's the valuable life experience I got from it. It was like drug Mad Libs. And so the problem is I don't know what the hell I'm talking about on the subject. So I started thinking when I heard in the news and stuff what I know, and it hits me pretty hard. Charlie Sheen. So I said, read the stories, all that stuff. So I started telling the kids that cautionary tale only with me as him. And I'm getting going, I'm rolling, I'm kind of liking it, the fame and the money and everything, until I'm getting a little too caught up and I mentioned the word hooker. And spend the next 20 minutes, half hour, explaining what a hooker is. It is, of course, a person with hooks for arms. My daughter didn't buy that for seconds. It's 5:45 in the morning. She's like, that's bullshit. My son, he thought it was great at school, like a transformer, but now he keeps asking his teacher who's here somewhere if he thinks he can be a hooker for Halloween next year. So, it's a little bit of a problem. So I finally came up with the right thing to say. I said, go ask Mom. So, just did their favorite thing in the world. Ask Mom a really tough question while she's asleep. So, Mom, did you ever do drugs? You ever do drugs? A few times she wakes up. Mom, you ever do drugs? She goes, doesn't say yes or no. She goes, why? Which I take to mean, what did you tell them, you asshole? And then, before they can answer, they're kind of flung spot off. She goes, you mean today? No, I haven't. Which I took to mean, get them out of this freaking house before they realize I didn't answer the question at all. So I go, all right, kids, let's go. Time for school. Get them all dressed, ready to go. Bang. Forget 6 in the morning. And Saturday. So I just walked around the block a few thousand times until they forgot what we were talking about. Just a few thousand. And when I got back, after we treated them for dehydration and some other things, I said to my wife, maybe we should start like an easier, boring lecture subject in the truck. What about the whole you don't swim till like in a half hour, what is it, after you've eaten because of cramps? How did that thing survive like through generations? Has any kid ever gotten a cramp after swimming? From swimming. They're not going across the English Channel. I mean, they're in a pool having chicken fights. We're playing like Marco. Polo! Polo! So, the thing is, it's the only advice that my kids have ever listened to. Because it didn't come from us. It didn't come from me and my wife. The pool cramp thing, they got brain in the head. Anything else, don't play with fire. We got to see if it burns, right? The full cramping, done. So last week, and the principal's here, so I gotta be careful with this, but I took my kids, only one day of school, to the Great Wolf Lodge. For those of you who don't have kids, and so don't know what the Great Wolf Lodge is, the only thing I have to say is don't ever have kids. That's my advice for pretty much everything, but it works for this in particular. When my kids, their first words, you're waiting all that time to change 8,000, 9,000 diapers. First words weren't mom or dad. Actually, they were. It was mom, dad, and they kind of wave this on. They go, did you know that the Great Wolf Lodge is great midweek rates for as low as $239 a night? They're very precocious kids. And then the voice gets a little quiet and they go, of course that doesn't include air to breathe, water, a place to sleep, food, fun, parking. I said air to breathe already, so I got to keep moving on. For those free extras, dial 3 and the Great Wolf Specials will help you refinance your house. Have a Great Wolf day. So we went and it was worth it, of course. Spend your kids' college savings so you can sit in the knee-deep pool filled with piss, and parents who look like they all just got out on parole. So your kids can ask you every 2 minutes if they're going to get a cramp. That's priceless. So we moved on to the next thing. My wife said, what about not talking to strangers? That's a good one. You didn't really need to practice in advance, nothing complicated like the drug thing. So my wife takes this one, and she says, no, I'm not making this shit up. She says, excuse me, if a stranger approaches you, start screaming, fire! Because it gets people's attention. And I'm thinking, it also causes stampedes and risk of death. I don't say these things. So she goes, and while you're screaming, start kicking and hitting, and if necessary, biting them until they go away. All right, just like this. And then she says, and most importantly, while you're doing all this, always stay calm. And at this point I'm thinking, I don't know what the hell I was thinking. And my son turns to me and goes, look, and it says, Dad, and it's weird because he thinks in Barry White's voice. He says, Dad, she's fucking crazy. And I get mad at these curse, but then I remember he was just thinking this. So I turn back and I think, back at him, I go, you lived with her for 7 freaking years. You didn't know that yet? So he thinks back. He says, until 2 weeks ago, I was still slamming the toilet seat on my privates after I peed. What do you expect? So I turned towards my daughter. I could tell she's clearly thinking something. What's she got going on? She goes, Dad, what do you expect? Until 2 weeks ago, I was still slamming the toilet seat in his privates when he peed. So I say, dear, I stupidly break the silence. I say, dear, how do you do all that Bruce Lee stuff? You scream and you kick whatever and stay calm. She doesn't say anything. Actually, she does. It takes a second or two, and then she starts screaming, fire! Gets me like a Vulcan stranglehold, cuts off all my circulation, starts kicking me in the ass and giving me a wedgie. I look at her eyes as I'm running out of breath, seeing the light flash before me, and she's cool and collected and calm. And she says, that's how, dear. Thanks very much.